Good afternoon. Been wanting to talk about this for a little while now. You got to excuse my appearance. I just got off work. I'm filthy. Sawdust on me, and I started a fire in the back, burning some old fence and some garbage and whatnot. But if I don't say these things when they come to my mind, when they're fresh, then they're not real. And I don't like to be, I don't like to be not real. And I got my son back here not long ago, and I told you about that. And man, I'm telling you what, it's been a challenge. Being a parent is a tough thing. Especially a single parent, whether you're mother, father, whatever you are. And I'm the last guy that's going to tell you I know exactly how to parent. I don't. I'm also the last guy that's going to tell you what to believe religiously or spiritually or whatever. Although we are in a Judeo-Christian country, and I am a Christian, and I try to follow the beliefs of Christ as close as I can. For me, I'm a very spiritual person, but I don't tell other people how to live or how to think or whatever. I just tell them what works for me, and you can take it for what it's worth. I mean, I don't care. You have your own beliefs. I have family members that are different religions and whatnot, and I love them to pieces regardless of what they believe. But anyway, here's the deal. I know the scriptures say that raise up a boy in the way for him, and he'll not turn aside from it all the days of his life. And I believe that's true. And that can be good and bad. That can be a double-edged sword, because some of the things that I was taught, I don't want to say they set me up for failure, but they didn't set me up to be in a position of strength all the time. But I feel good about myself, what type of person I am, and how I treat other people and whatnot, and I want my kids to be the same way. But I'm telling you, being a parent is tough, and you can't take a second off. You can't take a second off. You can't feel sorry for yourself. You can't think, well, maybe just this time, whatever, because I'm telling you, they will bury you, especially as they start getting a little older. And if you started them young that way, man, turn the tide now, because if you don't try and turn it now, you'll never get it turned. It's a bear. My son is probably one of the sweetest, hardest, nicest personalities you'd ever meet. But in about a year, maybe a year and a half, man, things sure shifted. Because he didn't have the guidance, he didn't have the direction. I'm not saying that my ex-wife didn't try to provide it or whatever. She's busy with her work, her career, whatever. Things change in people's circumstance. I'm telling you, do not lose your focus on your kids. They are the most important thing to you. Especially if you want to have a peaceful life when you get a little older. Especially if you want to enjoy them if you want to enjoy the reason that you had them. I know with my son, man, I'm telling you, kid was wearing clothes that I was like, where the heck did you get that? Saying things out of his mouth that I was shocked. Listening to music that as a grown adult, I've listened to. I'm not going to lie to you and act like I'm a prude or whatever. I'm not going to say that. I'm not saying that music isn't edifying for some people and some people really enjoy it. But I don't want my kid listening to music like that at his age. I mean, a child's mind, a person's mind in general, is not developed, they say, till you're 25, 26. I would venture to say it's even longer than that. For me, it might be 52. I don't know. But anyway, here's the thing. I want him fed with things that are wholesome, things that are clean. I look back now, my last marriage, and my ex-wife used to tell me she'd come home and she'd catch me watching the Andy Griffith Show. My favorite show. It was bar none my favorite. And she told me one time, first when we were dating, she asked me, do you really watch this all the time? I said, yeah, I enjoy it. Makes me feel good. Little House on the Prairie, The Jeffersons, Good Times, I don't remember what the one, Archie Bunker, what the name of it was, All in the Family, those kind of shows. I like those. And they broached serious concerns that we had in the country at the time, that we still have, that you can't even almost talk about anymore. But they were different times then. Things were different. I mean, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have the internet, the things that we have now, the things that keep kids occupied now. And I know for my son, I just went to his parent-teachers conference. Did not make me real happy. Things didn't go as well as I would have liked, and I know he knew it. And I had to yank his phone from him. His mom got him a phone so that they communicate and whatnot. And I had to take it from him. And I'm telling you, that week and a half that he didn't have it, I could see it change. I could see things changing. And you know why? because those things allow them to have association that they couldn't have otherwise. I live in the country. I mean, take a look. You see anything out here? You see any houses, other houses? No. So what influence is he going to have? Nothing. Me. Believe it or not, I remember when I was a kid, we'd get ragged for watching too much TV, right? He actually started watching TV, and we only get the free channel, so he was watching stuff like Leave It to Beaver, things like that. And I could see a difference in his demeanor. I literally could see it. Started working him out, started him boxing, started him on a routine, and things started to change. And it's hard to get that balance in the information age that we live in now. I gave him his phone back this last week, or actually 2 days ago, and it's a bit of a struggle. I'm gonna have to tighten things up. There's only gonna be a certain amount of time I'm gonna allow him to, and I told him, in order to have your phone, you're gonna have to read. You're gonna read books that I pick for you to read. You're gonna learn words that I think you need to learn for your vocabulary, and we're gonna work that way. And you're gonna learn Spanish the right way. You're not going to wait till you're older like me and have to struggle with it. I want you to know how to speak. And in Texas, it's a nice benefit to have. Yeah, actually anywhere it's a nice benefit to have, but especially here. But anyway, my point is, man, don't give up on your kids. Don't give them a second, and don't think that when they tell you something, double check. Don't believe what they tell you. Don't believe what they tell you, because they will lie to you. Believe it or not. And remember this, they have 2 sets of DNA. And be honest with yourself. When I was in front of those teachers, and the one teacher tells me he challenges authority constantly. Man, I did that constantly in school. The only difference between me and him was I had a fear of my dad. I had a big time fear of my dad. So I challenged it to a point, and then I shut my mouth because I knew I get home, my dad didn't want to hear that. He was going to put up with it. So it was a little different. I told him the other day, I said, you're not wearing that hoodie to school anymore, because he would put his hoodie up and then he'd be real stoic and look like a monk and nobody, keeping to himself and whatever, and that's not a good thing. The scriptures say that the one that isolates himself goes crazy. And that's true. I really believe that. I think there's some wisdom in that. And anyway, I told him, you're not wearing that hoodie. No more. It's not happening. And I'm going to cut your hair too. He wanted to do dreadlocks or some crazy thing. I said, no, you're cutting your hair nice. I'm going to give you a nice haircut, give you a little bit of a buzz, and you're going to feel different tomorrow. We're going to go back to school. So I take him back to school. We go in, and or I drop him off, and I went around the yard there, and I parked in a parking spot there, and I went in. I went to look for him. So I go to his first hour of class, and he's not in there. And I asked his teacher, I said, where's he at? She says, oh, he's not, I don't know. I don't know where he's at. He comes strolling in a few minutes later, and he doesn't see me. And he's got his hood up. And I walk up to him, I yank his hood off. He turns and looks at me, and he's got a t-shirt around his head like a do-rag. And he gave me a look like, oh my God, it's you. At first he gave me a look like he was going to hit me, like he thought I was another kid challenging him or something. Then when he realized it was me, his demeanor changed. I said, come on, me and you need to step out in the hall. I said, what was this I told you about wearing that stuff, about what I expected of you? Did you think I was not going to check? Do you think I was just going to let you do what you want to do and go unchecked? Those days are over, buddy. My job allows me to check on you. So, anyway, he started giving me some sass. So I went in back to the teacher. I said, you know what? He's not going to be in school today. He's going to work with me today. We got a little attitude adjustment. We're going to go home. I'm going to adjust his attitude, then we're going to go to work. And he'll be back tomorrow, and I promise you he'll be different. And so that's what we did. And I'm telling you, you discipline a kid, and at first it's very grievous, but it yields peaceable fruit in the end. Spare the rod and spoil the child, that is true. I'm telling you, I could see a difference in him afterwards. I mean right afterwards, immediately. It reminded me of the Andy Griffith Show at one time when this little kid threw a fit about his bike and wanted his dad thrown in jail. And Andy asked Opie during the show, he says, so what did you think of that kid? And he says, I'd rather not say. You know, he is one of my own kind. So I'm sure my son wouldn't be real tickled if he knew I was saying this to you. But and I will tell him. I don't ever put anything out there without getting permission from those around me that I talk to, so that nobody ever feels like they can't tell me something on the phone or call me up or whatever. I'm not going to tell everybody your life story or what's going on, not even kind of paraphrasing it, unless you give me permission. Anyway, I think this is important because I think a lot of times we feel overwhelmed and we feel like we can't do it, or we feel like giving up. And just when you're about to give up is when you're just about to get that change in them. You're going to see a difference. Anyway, I can see a difference in him. We're still struggling with some things. Doesn't like to eat what I make or whatever. Even the other night I made him chicken noodle soup, but I put too many potatoes in it. It kind of tastes a little more like potato soup. And he didn't want to eat it. I said, you're going to sit there and you're going to eat that food. And you know what? The funny thing is, we always think that our parents did things wrong, or there's a new way of doing things, and maybe there is. Maybe there's better ways to do some things. But my dad would make me sit there. You're going to sit there. And I'm telling you, there were times I sat there 3 or 4 hours, and he'd come back in there, and 3 or 4 hours later, and he'd see me, and he'd say, you still ain't eat that stuff? I'm going to give you 5 minutes, and then you're getting it. And you know what? I gobbled that sucker down in 5 minutes. I don't know what I was doing those other 3 or 4 hours, who I thought I was showing something to. But he broke me of that habit. He broke me of it. And now I can eat anything. I can get along with anybody. I can do whatever I have to do. I'm not finicky about my work, about my food, about almost anything. My music. I'm very eclectic. I have a wide range of things that I like to listen to. Even some of the things that he was listening to, there's a time and a place for everything. The scriptures say that in Ephesians. I think it's 4:3, I believe it says, for everything there's a appointed time. And that's something one of my uncles told me. We were horsing around in church one day, and he pulled us to the side, and he read that scripture to me, and it stuck with me. It stuck with me all the days of my life. I mean, I'm 52 years old now. I don't even talk to him anymore, but I remember that scripture. So don't think that the things you tell your kids go in one ear and out the other, and they don't pay attention. They pay attention, and they pay attention to your example, but whether you believe it or not, it's not always your example. It's what you make them do. Sometimes it is just fact. That's just the facts. They will do what you make them do. If you don't make them do it, they're not going to do it. For what reason? It's like getting him up in the morning. Man, it's like pulling teeth. He's just not a morning person. And that's another thing. You got to be careful what you say. I try not to say that around him too much. You're not a morning person, this and that. I keep telling him, it's your choice. You got the choice. You can be a morning person, or you don't have to be a morning person. You can make this life a good thing. You can make the morning something that you look forward to, or you can be miserable and be late to school and be a drag all day and a drain on everybody, or you could be somebody that everybody enjoys seeing. I told his teachers, I said, I back you up in whatever discipline you have to do to him. I don't expect you to be his parent, but if you need me, you give me a call and I'll go do my job if he's stepping out of line. Because I want him to be a successful person that adds to society, not someone that takes from society. And I think it's important that we pay attention, because sometimes, man, we get caught up in so many other things, your job, this and that. Guess what? You croak tomorrow, something happens with you, your job will be posted before they put you in the ground. You croak tomorrow and your kids will be left without a parent, without somebody that gives them a foundation or guidance. So do all that you can with them now. Don't put it off. And if you can't do it, or you're having problems, seek out help, a counselor or somebody. Or if you have a spouse, an ex-spouse that has the time, man, don't be stingy with that kid. Don't. It's their job too. Let them do their job. I'm grateful that my ex let me take my son. I wish to God she'd let me take my other son, because I think it's detrimental for him not to be here, even though he's a different kid. There's certain things that a man can teach a boy that a woman can't, and vice versa. There's certain things a woman can teach a daughter, that a man can't. When my daughter came to live with me, my middle daughter, that was a challenge. There was things I didn't know how to address, but I had to. And I had to have my mom help me, or other people step in and help me, other women. It was tough. So don't be afraid to draw on that person. It's their job. The scriptures say that children are a gift from God. How do you take care of your gift? That's the most important thing you could have. Anyway, with that, I'm not telling you how to be a parent or whatever exactly. Just some tips and maybe some encouragement for if you're having a hard time, or your kids are having a hard time. Man, you'll get through this. I've had 6 of them. This is my last one. And I'm telling you, I got a feeling he's a real special one. And not that they're not all special. I think they're all special. I just think this kid's he's got a heart about him, and he's got a determination and a moxie to him that's just, it's incredible. I mean, if you saw it, you'd know what I mean. He's a tough nut to crack, but I'll handle my business. And I hope that you do the same thing too, and don't blow it off, and don't let it go to osmosis. Don't let your kid don't think that you can just let them run amok and they're just going to figure it out. They're going to be good people. It doesn't happen that way. Anyway, with that, I hope you have a great evening. I hope things go well for you. And remember, nothing good is easy. Nothing easy is good. If it's worth having, it's worth working hard for. And remember, I have my videos on YouTube now under J.R. Gonzalez. So if you want to encourage somebody, or you think they might be able to benefit from this, let them know where I'm at, and let them take a look at it. I'd appreciate it. And with that, have a great evening.